Morning everyone and welcome to the amazing Ordesa Valley in Spain. I'm on the Spanish side of the Pyrenees today. I'm going to be hiking up the very famous Ordesa Valley trail that passes numerous waterfalls culminating in the Caballo de Caballo, meaning the horsetail falls at the head of the valley. It's about an 18-kilometre return walk, but I'll be extending it because on a side stream is another waterfall called the Caballo de Cotatuero, I think it is, which is a really tall waterfall, the tallest in the valley area. Mate, the total hike is something like 25 kilometres in about 8 hours, so big day out. Let's do it. The views just from the car park here are absolutely incredible. Just walk to the end and that's where the trail starts. Now, if you notice the complete lack of cars around me, that's because in June through September, the car park at Ordesa Meadows is closed. You have to park down the road in Toya or Torla and catch a shuttle bus up here. Now, I'd recommend getting early in the morning. I had an hour-long wait at 9:30, so I started far too late, but I'm here eventually. Just something to notice, I think €6 return for the bus ticket. It's not too bad, and there's no other fees getting to the national park. So yeah, come out of season or get here really early in the morning to catch the bus up. 700 metres in, come to the first junction of the day. So the main track goes off that way, but I'm going to head up this way first for the Circo de Cotatuero. So the Circo de Cotatuero is basically like the glacial cirque from where the Cascada de Cotatuero plunges. I actually know exactly how long the walk is up this trail, so if it's shortish, we'll head up this way, come back down and then head up the main track. Otherwise, there's a linking trail we can follow that will take us out further up the track. That would bypass some of the waterfalls and we only see them on the way back. So ideally, head up this way, come back down and then do the main track. But we'll all work that out as we go. I'll flash a photo of a map up on the screen as we go so you know what I'm talking about and where I am, so it doesn't get too confusing, because to be honest, I was a bit confused when I was trying to plan where to go. Worth noting as well, I'm here at the start of September. Usually the Cascada de Cotatuero would be dry or a trickle this stage of year from the photos I've seen, but luckily we had quite a lot of rain the last few days, so all the rivers are absolutely pumping at the moment. So today it should look spectacular, but worth noting, if you want to see this falls performing late spring, early summer sort of time, when the snow's melting, is probably the best time to go. Steadily climbing up, just come to a little open point here. These like orangey cliffs are just something else. Oh, it's a pretty intense climb this, but just getting little glimpses through the trees to the falls, which are looking spectacular. According to the topo map, it's about 400 metres of climbing from the main trail up to the base of the waterfall. And I'm feeling every metre of that at the moment. Alrighty, coming into a junction now. The left fork leads up to the top of the cirque up there. The right fork is going to take me closer to that waterfall and to a bridge over the creek. And from there, I'm hoping to scramble up to the base. We'll see how we go. There it is. They're looking downstream and looking up to the waterfall, looking absolutely mighty up there. Now the Cascada de Cotatuero is apparently 200 metres high, and looking at that, while it's still a little ways off, I could definitely believe that figure. So after the bridge, the trail kind of heads up these switchbacks, getting closer towards the waterfall. The key now is just to find a point to dive off the trail to get right up close to it. So I just keep my eyes out for a used trail, because I know people go to the base, so I've seen plenty of photos, and I know the trail doesn't actually access it. Let's see how we go. Right, I've reached the last switchback because the trail now just heads well off that way and away from the falls. So I'm going to dive off the track here. It looks like a bit of a used trail going this way, and try and follow those big boulders up to the base of the falls, which aren't far away because I can see it through there. Past some pretty decent sized cascades. It's open, as you can see, but it is a bit of a nasty boulder scramble at times. Have to use some tree roots to pull yourself up, etc. But again, not very far. Well, it's been a decent little climb up, about 15 minutes or so from the bridge, maybe a little bit more even, and about 50 minutes from leaving the main track. I've made it to the base of the towering Cascada de Cotatuero. Spectacular falls, every bit the 200 meters high, I would say, even though I can't actually see to the top of it properly from the falls perspective. Just a really cool kind of reddish amphitheater it drops in. I'll give you a look. Now, on the way out, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try and head that way. I reckon if I contour across, I'll come to the trail eventually, because I've climbed quite a long ways and it seems a bit pointless to go down all that way just to climb up again. So I'm going to try heading out that way. We might even get some different views of the waterfall. See how we go. So I've basically just been climbing straight up. I reckon the trail is now basically due that way. So we're going to head straight across now onto that more open section, but quite a nice view here showing the full height of the falls. You couldn't see as well from the bottom, much more of a direct view from here, although not quite as nice photographically, as you don't really have the foreground like you did below. Still impressive view. Some grand vistas now. I've definitely climbed too high, but I kind of knew I was climbing too far. But I just sort of wanted to come out to this open area and get these grandstand views of the falls and the valley. Now the track is down, I reckon, around where the start of those trees are. I'm just going to loop around these trees and then work my way down and hopefully hit the track soon. Well, after doing exactly what I said I'd do, I've stumbled back across the trail, kind of now in the wooded section here. At the start of the day, I was saying I was thinking about heading back down the hill and then doing the hike along the main trail the whole way, but to be honest, having seen how much of a climb I've just made then, don't have much interest in going all the way down and then climbing up again on the other track. So I'm going to take the link track that's going to head along the top, well, sort of halfway up the valley, parallel to the river, but above it. That's going to eventually take me in towards the main trail, upstream of a few of the waterfalls, which I'll then see on the way back down. So I'm going to head to the main track, head up to the top waterfalls, and then back down to the rest of them. I'll put the map on the screen in case that was confusing, but it's a little bit of a more primitive trail I'm on now. Still very easy to follow, but obviously not the main trodden route through this way. Hard to argue that I haven't made the right decision coming this way. Just outrageous views. Perks of being above the tree line. Way down there is where the main trail runs along. If you're afraid of heights, this is not the hike for you. Jesus Christ, that is a long way down. The last little while has been pretty uneventful, just plodding through a forested section, but what is nice is I've still not spotted a single person since I left the main trail a couple of hours ago, which is amazing considering the fact that back in Toya I was stuck behind about 200 people in line for the buses, so clearly everyone's just on the trail down there, and if you come up this way, you get a bit of peace and quiet, which is really nice. Come to a pretty cool vantage here. You can look right down in the valley. I'm pretty sure that falls you can see there is the Cascada de Arripas, which the track gets much closer to. but get a bit of a unique view from here. And then that one over here, that could be the Cascada de la Cueva, I think. I'm not totally sure. Regardless, pretty cool vantage point. Well, I've sadly lost most of the elevation I worked so hard to gain. The trail actually has quite a lot of downhill, but it's been meandering down through this forest and now just about to come out to the main trail where we're going to head upstream towards the Caballo de Caballo and then back down to the rest of the waterfalls we missed. Let's do it. Immediately clear how much more popular this track is. There's so many people, but just a gorgeous section of forest here. These white trees. I should know what they are, but I don't. Made it to the next waterfall along the trail. This is the Gradas de Soaso. I don't actually know what Gradas means. I'm not sure if it's equivalent of like a cascade, because it's sort of a series of small waterfalls, really, really picturesque. I'm standing on top of the lower falls, which I'm not sure if there's a way to get to the bottom. It looks like you could potentially hike up the river from downstream, but it could be hard with the water this high. But anyways, I might have looked at that on the way back. But this is the Gradas de Soaso. So above the Gradas de Soaso, broken out onto this amazing sort of open plain valley. Just a stunning view, even with the mountains a little bit in the clouds. And the falls, the Caballo de Caballo, are right at the end of this valley. Crossing little bridges from all these little spring-fed creeks that are coming down. Ephemeral waterfalls up there. Just an idyllic scene. Well, I'm just rounding the final bend to the Caballo de Caballo and it looks absolutely spectacular. This whole valley is just magical, and the falls itself is really just the icing on the cake. 30-40 metre drop. It looks like it twists around the corner a bit more, but I'll get up close and have a better look. So, drove us away from Caballo de Caballo, which is absolutely gorgeous, and now on the hike back. I'm just going to plod along, really. I'm not going to film much until we get past the junction where I came out of the other track from, and then we'll get to the other waterfalls, and I'll give you a look at those when we get there. Coming into the turn-off for the first of these three waterfalls, the Cascadas del Estrecho. Check it out. Really impressive falls. See another look out down there, which might be a more frontal view. But just a powerful and tall waterfall. You can see some upper tiers further up as well. Well, I followed another side trail, made it to a very flooded lookout for the Cascada del Estrecho, and if you look around here, see there's more to this waterfall than meets the eye. There's another tier down there. You can see people at the lookout, so we'll be down there in a minute, I reckon, for another good view of the rest of the falls. Really cool how the river's carved out these big caves in there. Quite unusual. I'm quite glad I did not go down the original track from the Cascada de Cotatuero, because there's quite a lot of descending now past all these waterfalls. They're actually bigger than I thought they'd be. And obviously that'd mean be a lot of climbing on the way up if I'd come in this way. Made it to the base of Cascadas del Estrecho. Really cool waterfall. You can see the up bit through there and the lower fall, probably 50 metres high in total. Just the cave-like formations around here are incredible. Just down here we see the next waterfall, which I think is Cascada de Cueva, which we'll be at in a minute. Made it to the next waterfall like 5 minutes later, barely. Cascada de la Cueva, and if my dodgy Spanish serves me correctly, that means waterfall of the cave. I'm not really sure why it's called that. It's not actually really a cave there. There's a little bit of an overhang, but I thought Cascada del Estrecho was more of a cave-like formation with those massive overhangs that it's carved out. Anyways, nice full, bit of an obstructed viewpoint, but the kind of leafy greens in the way might actually make for a nice photo with any luck. Tell you what, I would love to see Cascada de la Cueva in a couple of months, where those trees in front of it, which are really pretty now in their green state, and they turn to those beautiful oranges, those fall colours. I reckon it'd be a really nice shot. But as is, that's almost my favourite waterfall to photograph of the day. So much going on with the blue colours in the water and the greens of the trees. So hopefully the shots turn out alright. And if they did, you'll see them. Now to look out for the last waterfall of the day, or the first one, if you come in the other direction obviously, Cascada de Arripas. Now this is the falls that I spotted from high above on the track earlier. Not overly impressive, to be honest, only about 5 metres high, but what makes this look at quite nice is the views up into the canyon are really spectacular. So you can make quite a nice photograph with the falls kind of contrasted to the height of the overall canyon. Give you a look. Now the home stretch, last 2.5 k's. At a bridge where the main track goes that way. Well, let's be different, let's go the other way. If nothing else, get his cool views from the bridge. Essentially there's a bunch of sort of bridges that will go across the river and let you basically make a loop if you wanted to out of the trail. But obviously we didn't come up this way, so we're just seeing it all for the first time. Just on the final wander back to the car park now. This is one of the most incredible hikes I've ever done, and sort of a rare hike for me, where the waterfalls almost weren't the main attraction. They were certainly spectacular. The Cascada de Cotatuero is a high class waterfall, 200 metres high, and the other falls were all beautiful as well. But just the amazing sheer walled valley is, I think I mentioned earlier, reminded me of Zion National Park. Just the red colours and the height of the cliffs is incredible. Definitely recommend doing the loop that I did, where you get up to Cascada de Cotatuero. Most people miss that. Like in the 3 hours I was away from the main track, I saw literally one couple. So that goes to show that it's worth getting away from the main trail a little bit, because it was so busy. in the middle of the day on the main route. The way I did it, I would say was probably the best way. It doesn't make much difference, but getting the big climb out of the way early on while I was fresh was really good. And it also meant that the waterfalls towards the end, I had more or less to myself because there weren't many people on the track anymore, and those that were had already seen them. So it was pretty quiet at the lookouts. About 23, 24 kilometres my route was. It's 19 k's return if you just do Cayo de Caballo and back. A full day's walk. I'm going to finish off at about 7 p.m. I started at 11 a.m. So, you know, it's a proper long hike, but definitely worth the effort. And yeah, come check it out. I'll see you next time.